What if I told you that scientists have found the most effective method to study? I think we've all been in a similar situation, studying the night before a test only to receive a big F on our grade. As we all say, I should have studied more. But according to scientists, it's not how much you study, but how you space out your studying. This was found all the way back in 1885, when famous scientist Urban Ebbinghaus discovered the spacing effect. The spacing effect is an observation that long-term memory is enhanced when learning events are spaced apart in time rather than massed in immediate successions. What does this mean? Say we have two people, James and Chloe. Say they both have a test on Friday. Say that James studied in one 4-hour block the night before, while Chloe studied in 1-hour blocks starting on Monday. According to scientists, given James and Chloe had the same academic skill, studied the same amount of information, and both studied for 4 hours, Chloe should do better than James on the test. Why? This is because of the spacing effect. But in order to understand the spacing effect, we have to look at something called the forgetting curve. The forgetting curve is a chart that shows how quickly encoded information can be forgotten. In the case of James, we can see after a day of studying, he's only going to remember 50% of what he learned. However, in the case of Chloe, since she spaced out her studying into blocks, she was reviewing or actively retrieving the information she learned. So while forgetting the same amount of information the next day, because of active retrieval, the curve goes back to 100%. As we can see, the more days she spends spacing out her studying, the less she forgets, as the curve starts to flatten out. But what is happening in the brain that makes this occur? Well, in order to understand this, we have to take a look into what it takes to form a long-term memory, as the 3 main steps to a memory. First is encoding the information. Next is storing that information. And finally is retrieving that information. As the spacing effect plays into storage of that information, all of which is handled by a part of the brain called the hippocampus. When learning, the hippocampus forms new neurons and neural pathways. However, these pathways can easily die out if learning stops, explaining why we tend not to remember anything during summer break. However, if we continue to relearn information, we can increase the number of neurotransmitters that are being fired, thus minimizing the amount we forget, making our brain stronger. Well, given that we know what the spacing effect is, how do you space out your studying? Well, scientists say the best way to remember information is to relearn or review something just before you forget it. So, shorten the intervals when relearning hard concepts and lengthen the ones for easier concepts. So the next time you have a test, look into the spacing effect, because maybe you can turn that F into an A.